So I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to do gravity if that's what you need to do in your game. So we're just going to use a basic ball. I'm going to draw myself a ball, just like that. I'm going to double click him and then just use my arrow keys to move him to the bottom of the stage, just like that. So I'm now going to right click and convert into a symbol. I'm going to call it MC underscore ball, making sure that it is a movie clip. Okie dokie, I'm going to give it an instance name of ball underscore MC and tab out, and that's all we need for the moment. Okay, so we'll go to our actions and we're going to type stop, just like that, and we're going to need to, what are we going to do first? We might create our event listener, so we're going to just do it with a mouse click, so we'll do ball underscore MC dot add event, listener, open brackets, mouse event dot click, and we'll call this bounce ball. Okay. We will also need to make it run nice and smooth a game loop, so we'll just go ahead and do that. So we'll go stage, just like that. So event.enterFrame, enter underscore frame, game loop. Okay, so we will go down here and we'll create our first function, which will be the bounce ball. Bounce ball, event colon, mouse event, close brackets, colon void, curly brace return. So all we're going to do for this is type in ball clicked equals true, because that's going to be the boolean that we'll need. So now is a good time to go off and create that, because we haven't done that yet. So we'll click back up here at the end of stop and press enter a couple of times, and we'll create our ball clicked boolean. So variable, var, ball clicked colon boolean, and we're going to initially set it to false. Okay, so we now need to create our game loop function. So we'll do that. Game loop, open brackets, event colon, event with a capital E, colon void, and a curly brace. So inside that game loop, we're going to type apply gravity, open brackets, close brackets, semicolon. So that's the name of the function that's going to actually make everything happen. All right, and we haven't created that yet. So we're going to do that. So like I've said previously, we don't need an event listener for that, like up here for the other two functions, because that's going to run from inside the game loop. Okay, so there's no listeners for that. The game loop runs that function. So we're now going to go function apply gravity, open brackets, close brackets, colon void. Okay. We're going to use an if statement for this. So a conditional statement, we're going to go if ball clicked double equals true. So a conditional statement there. And we need more open brackets. We're going to go ball underscore MC dot y minus equals velocity, semicolon. So velocity is going to be another variable we'll create in a minute, so that'll be a number value. Okay, go to another line and we'll type velocity equals velocity minus gravity, semicolon. So gravity is also going to be a number value variable that we will create. So now's a good time to go make those. And then I'll come back and explain what this means. So we'll go up here under our boolean, and we'll just do a line gap so we can see everything nicely, and we're going to create variable gravity colon number equals 0.68. That number purely because I tinkered around with it to make sure everything worked, and that's a number that worked well. But you can change that. Variable velocity colon number equals 15 for the same reasons as above. So what's going to happen? If we go down here, if the ball clicked, so if we click on the ball and that boolean gets changed to true, this is what's going to happen. The Y value is going to reduce. So remember, at the bottom of the screen, reducing means it's going to move up because the 0 value of Y is up here at the top. So it's going to move up repeatedly, but based on our velocity value, which is 15, right there. We've set it to 15. So that will go up 15 pixels at a time, over and over and over, looping quite nicely. Now, if it does that, and nothing else, it'll just disappear off the top of the screen. Okay, so I'll comment that out, and we'll test it. Command return to test. Click on my ball, there he goes. Okay, so that works. So one more time, Control Enter or Command Return, click on him, and that's doing what we want it to do. Okay. Now, if I just uncomment, just get rid of those 2 slashes, that line, and bring that back in, this is going to add the gravity to it. Because what it's doing is, yes, it's moving the ball along the y-axis up the screen at the rate of velocity, which initially is 15, but then immediately in the next line, we essentially start reducing the velocity by 0.68. We're basically going, this is basically saying 15 minus 0.68, which then changes the value of that to, what would that be? 14.22 maybe? No, 32. 14.32. So then it's going to run that again and take it off again. So each time basically that it's running, the value of velocity is going to reduce, and therefore the ball eventually is going to, or the velocity value is going to get in the negatives, and it'll drag it back down. Okay, so let's see if that's going to work first. Command return, click. There we go, nice. So we've got the problem of it disappearing through the bottom of the screen now, but we'll fix that in a minute. So that's what's happening there. If I put in a trace statement here, actually I might put it, just in case, I'll put it above that statement. So I'll go trace velocity semicolon. It'll bring it up in the output window of the value of it, so you'll see what's actually happening. So if I go command return again, and I click, there you go. So you can see what's happening, all right? It starts off as 15, and then the next line of code runs, taking 0.68 off it, which makes it 14.32. It'll then run that, because it's inside the game loop, it's going to refresh and run that function again. It's going to take another 0.68 off, another 0.68 off, and it's going to keep on doing that over and over and over and over. And eventually you can see if I scroll down here, like I said, it's going to reduce the value of velocity so much that eventually it'll get into the negatives, and that will obviously move the ball in the opposite direction. Okay, just like gravity, that's how it works. So that's what's happening there. So we can just comment that out. We don't need that to run anymore. So that's really it. The only other thing we need to do now is obviously just fix up the, if you've got something that you need to land, we obviously want to have it not disappear off the bottom of the screen. So we'll do that now, okay? So what we're going to do is firstly, I'm just going to click on, the height is 108, okay? We need to know that. So I'm going to go inside, still inside the apply gravity function, I'm going to go if, open brackets, ball underscore MC dot Y is greater than stage dot stage height minus 108. Oops, no brackets there. Oh yes. Oops, sorry. Bagged out, I knew something wasn't quite right there. Minus 109, curl brace, and we'll go. All right, we'll go firstly, velocity equals 0. All right, we want to set it back because we don't want it to, if it keeps running that previous function at this point, it's just going to drop off the bottom of the stage again. We don't want that. So we want to set velocity to 0, and we want to go ball underscore MC dot Y equals stage dot stage height minus 108. So 1 pixel less than that. Otherwise, it'll just get stuck there and it won't keep running. We also want to change the boolean back so it can be clicked again. So ball clicked equals false. So it's no longer being clicked. And that will also, obviously, stop running the ball clicked. If ball clicked equals true up here, it'll stop running those steps. So it'll stop reducing the velocity of the ball for us, which is what we want. And then the last thing we need to do is set our velocity back to the original value of 15, so it's ready to go again when the ball is clicked on a second time. So let's run that, see what happens. Click, stops. But now, click, there we go. Okay, that's all you need. So we can click on that. If you want gravity to pull it down quicker, you just change the value of gravity, you make it a higher number, the variable that we created at the top. But that's it. You can keep clicking on it. That's it. And that's how you make gravity. So obviously if you want to do something like a Flappy Bird kind of thing, firstly you're going to control it through the keys rather than a mouse click, and you're going to maybe have two functions, all right? Because what you want to happen here, that's basically losing traction as it goes up because gravity's pulling it up. So for a Flappy Bird kind of thing, the trick of it was that when you, say, held the space bar down or the button down or tapped or whatever, it was increasing pace. So you want it to be actually accelerating towards the top and then having to let go so that gravity pulls it back down. So that'll take a little bit of figuring out, but the gravity part is that. You should be able to figure out the rest from there.